with Dr. Charles Wilkerson. You're listening to Vision 105.1 FM radio. Today I want to discuss something that I'm really fond of in the office. I've been in practice for over 25 years now, and I love seeing patients get well. Part of my practice is doing wellness practice, and we do what's called science-based nutrition. And that is
I'm sorry, Dr. Wilkerson. Aren't you a chiropractic doctor? Correct.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
chiropractic doctor, but
Okay.
I do wellness in the practice as well.
Mhm.
Of course, chiropractic is the main part of my practice, but we love to see patients get well using other methods. Of course, we always recommend a chiropractic adjustment. That's part of the wellness
I'm so
package
sorry.
as well.
Where are you located at?
We're in Stone Mountain, Georgia, 1230 South Harrison Road, suite number 8.
Okay.
And that's Stone Mountain, of course, 30088.
Thank you.
Phone number is 404-299-9066 for any of those of you who want to get in touch with me.
Okay. And you've been practicing as a chiropractic doctor for over 22 plus years?
Yeah, 20 in that office, 22 years. I've been actually in practice for over 25 years.
Okay.
And so it's been very rewarding to see how people respond to non-traditional medical type treatment. We do natural treatments in the office, and just to see the kind of results we get. One of the things we do in the office is called science-based nutrition.
Okay.
And science-based nutrition is setting the standard of objectivity in nutritional health care. No general screening test is more efficient, effective, and affordable than a comprehensive blood chemistry panel. It allows us to establish a baseline of biomarkers to track the health and nutritional needs of our patients. Getting a comprehensive blood test is essential to understanding the patient's current health.
Okay.
So science-based nutrition is an innovative, science-based look at nutritional strengths and weaknesses through an individual's blood test as well as other objective diagnostic tools.
Oh, okay. So that's part of the blood panel.
That's
so
the
that's
blood
considered
panel.
the scientific part of it. Okay. All right.
And with this approach, we can do an objective approach which can offer a clear plan for determining and monitoring nutritional recommendations. So when you go to see your standard medical doctor, they do blood work, of course, yeah. But usually in medical offices, they do tests based on what the insurance companies will pay.
Okay.
Yeah, our test, I think we go a step further because we're not under the control of any insurance companies looking over our shoulders, telling us what we can and cannot do.
Okay.
So with the medical blood tests, most of them are in the clinical range. Most blood tests are reported using established clinical ranges. If you're within this clinical range, you're most likely considered normal.
Okay.
This shouldn't be confused with healthy.
Okay.
Being within the clinical range is not good enough. Being within the clinical range simply means you're not yet sick, as sick as other people use to determine that range. Science-based nutrition also incorporates optimal or healthy ranges in our reports. The point of the optimal range is to flag tests that are heading toward that clinical range.
Okay.
So we try to catch it early.
Okay, through the blood panel.
Through the blood panels.
Okay.
And our ranges are a little bit more narrow because we want to pull you into more of a healthy range as opposed to a wider clinical range.
Okay.
For example, I had a good friend of mine, he's a veterinarian, came into the office, and I was asking about his health and his physicals, his annual physicals he generally get every year. He said, "Oh, doc, everything is fine." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, we do a panel here where we look at things in a little different way." I said, "Would you be interested in perhaps doing one of my panels?" He said, "Well, sure, doc." So he purchased one of my panels, went and did the blood work at LabCorp.
Okay, so you send the patients out when
we
they
give
come
them
in.
the panels and they go to LabCorp or another blood collecting company to do our testing.
Okay. Now also, I'm sorry, Dr. Wilkerson, you do not have to be a patient for you to give someone the blood panel, correct, to go out?
No, these tests are offered to anybody who's interested in finding out a little bit more in depth about their health status. So this friend of mine who did that panel was surprised to find out that his 1AC was a little, it wasn't in the healthy range, but it was in the clinical range.
Yes.
So when he found that out, we then proceeded to give him a set of treatments, basically supplements and things to bring his biomarkers closer into a healthy range.
Okay.
He retested within 2 months, and he was surprised that his 1AC level came down.
Oh wow!
So that's just one example of the differences in what we do in our office.
Okay.
There was another situation where there was a football player who was given a test for, they were treating him for muscular sclerosis, and just wasn't doing really well. He was in his early 20s, and for a young man and playing sports, it was really causing him some problems. So it took him out of sports. Oh, wow. He decided to come and get a blood panel. We ran this panel on him, and come to find out that he was misdiagnosed. Instead of muscular sclerosis, we found that he had gout based on his markers.
Wow.
His markers
all because of that blood panel.
The kidney functions that were the problem. Yeah. So it was just something that just didn't get properly diagnosed. Maybe because the tests weren't specific enough. I'm not sure there, but it did. Once we got the correct diagnosis, we then proceeded to help him to deal with his gout. So those were just two examples of of patients that we've seen, based on our results.
That is so interesting. So Dr. Wilkerson, when they come in and they ask you about the blood panel, and you said it's for anyone, not just, they don't have to be your patient or anything. If you guys need a blood panel, you can dial 404-299-9066, and Dr. Charles Wilkerson will send you out to get blood work done. A lot of people is asking, what's it about? And so the blood panel also tell people, like, say if broccoli, and you're really not supposed to be eating broccoli. When a blood panel tell a lot of people, it's like their own little personal private booklet. Like some people, like, why am I getting hives, or why is this happening to me? Why am I allergic to this? But that blood panel will tell you, like, say you like spinach and you've been eating spinach, and the blood panel will say, well, spinach isn't for you. Maybe eat string beans or something like that. So the blood panel actually keeps up with everything, what you need to do and change in your diet.
It does. It will, it will point out certain things that are causing problems for you, as well as deficiencies, things you may need to put into your diet. So it will go both ways. The whole idea with the blood panel is to get a baseline to see what's going on really. Wow. And with my blood panels, we test over 150 different biomarkers, and just to get that baseline. Additionally, we may also send you for a hair analysis, because the hair will go back months. What's in your blood today may not have been, something in your blood today may have been in your blood earlier, but the hair analysis will go back so far. So because the hair is connected to the circulatory system in such a way that if you have any type of, say, heavy metals or any type of situations, it'll show up in the hair as well. So if we're not getting a clear understanding of what's going on based on the blood work, then we'll go further with the hair samples. We have a company that performs that test for us as well. Wow.
So you were saying something, I know I heard you say before the clinic, you can even use your pubic hairs.
That's probably, if what we look for is hair that hasn't been treated in any kind of way. You want your more natural hair.
Wow.
Hair in the pubic area is pretty much unharmed down there. It's really natural.
He said unharmed.
Most of us nowadays put oils and chemicals in our hair.
Yeah.
Even beard hair, you know, it's when you put oils in there, that could change the results of the analysis. So I'm not saying somebody should go shave, but
here's the hair, Dr. Wilkerson. So could they bring it in a Ziploc bag?
Yeah, just put it in a Ziploc bag. We'll send it off. But you know, science-based nutrition it's been around for a while, and you know, it's a person's level of health using laboratory analysis and hair analysis, with the purpose of restoring health using nutrition and other natural modalities. Okay. So we don't take you off medication. Okay. But we try to have you work with your medical doctor if you're getting better, if the symptoms are diminishing or decreasing. We ask that you go back to your medical doctor, have them retest you for why they have you on this medication. Wow. And perhaps it could be reduced, or maybe even you could come off of it. Of course. That can save lives, though. I really like that, Dr. Wilkerson. That can really save lives if people know, because I know it was a couple of things that I was eating and I had no clue. Some people may break out, some people may not. And you have a lot of people, they're losing weight, they're trying to lose weight, and they're buying all kind of vitamins and it's still not helping. But if they do that blood panel, that'll be able to tell them exactly what they need to get. Exactly, because you know, as I remember myself going into the health food store and just wondering, what vitamins should I buy? What do I think I might need? Maybe vitamin C. You just don't really know. It's a guess. And you know, you really need to know what you're putting in your body, because you know, everybody won't need the same vitamins. Everybody has different requirements. Oh, wow. The focus of treatment is to bring the body back into a state of biochemical and physiological balance by adjusting those out of balance biomarkers. Sometimes we use vitamins. Sometimes we use nutraceuticals. We may use a homeopathic blend. It may not be good for us, though, but we won't know. So that blood panel, like, people need to get that. Also, Dr. Wilkerson, I have a young man on here, Riley Livingston. He's saying, getting close to 40, I can see and tell that I need to change my diet because I love to eat a lot. So what would you tell him? I would tell him to reduce his food consumption, because there are laboratory studies with animals that show where when they reduce the diet of laboratory animals, and this carryovers to humans as well, that they tend to have less disease and they live longer. Oh, wow. So he, you know, really should reduce the amount of food intake. He should move more toward a more natural diet. As we age, our bodies break down, and the body really needs more of the nutrients to really sustain itself. Okay. So that's what I would recommend. He just maybe, you know, cut back a little bit. I know everybody likes to eat, but really, the rule I go by is that I eat till I'm about 80% full. Okay, because what he said too, Dr. Wilkerson, is just need to know what type or right kind of food to eat that will help. Simply because I have been eating bad for years, and it's a lot of people out there that will not admit to it. And he said, "Wow, okay, and thank you so much." So. Well, I'm going to get into that a little bit later, talking about some suggestions about food choices and when you eat, you know, how you should eat and all of this. But just know that, that he should lean more toward and you know, you hear people talk about different diets. You know, you hear people talking about the keto diet. Yeah. You know, some diets are not really good for just everybody. You can't say that if I eat a high protein diet that could work for some people, but you shouldn't stay on a high protein diet indefinite, because you know, it's just not good to have that much protein going through your system. So it should be balanced. It should be a balanced diet. You should get enough fruits and vegetables, some meats and fats in your diet, healthy fats like avocados and things like that. Lean more toward eating something raw in your diet every day, fruits and vegetables. Get plenty of water, and stay away from the fast foods, because a lot of restaurants they use, you know, reuse oils and things that can cause, you know, can lead to disease processes like cancer and things. These oils that they cook French fries in and things like that. So that's what I would recommend for him.
Okay, wow, because it's so many people out there there's like that. And Dr. Peggy Etheridge Johnson, she said, can you post the information to contact him in this forum? So yes, I will, sweetheart, I will. And Riley is saying that's a lot of his problem. It's a lot of people problem all over the world. And yes, Dr. Peggy, we will put this out for you. Okay. Any questions that you have with Dr. Wilkerson, he will answer your questions. We were talking about the blood panel earlier, and I think everyone needs that blood panel because it's your own personal booklet on your body doesn't know what it needs.
And it's a guide for them to go by. It tells them what foods to eat, what exercises they should be doing. It's a lifestyle guide, really, that's tailored individually for that person.
That's good. That's good.
So the question came up about vitamins. What vitamins should I take? If you're not eating properly, vitamins are not going to cover your sins.
Yes, say that again, Dr. Wilkerson. Say that again,
please. A lot of
us
think that, well, if I can eat bad, but if I take vitamins, that's going to make up for me not eating properly. Well, it doesn't. You really should get most of your nutrition from the foods you eat. Vitamins help, and I take vitamins, swear by them. But again, this panel that we do for our patients, it will tell you what vitamins your body needs.
Yes, it does.
And that's your own personal guide to know what vitamins to take. There's a lot of clever marketing of supplements and fad diets and conflicting nutrition information available today, and it can get confusing. It confuses me when I read a lot of stuff. And you really can't rely on somebody working at a vitamin store to tell you what you need to take. You go to the
why
clinic,
is that?
What's good for whatever?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, you can take this or you can take that. That person working behind the counter at a vitamin store don't have a clue. I mean,
really?
they really wouldn't. I mean, they could tell you what someone is buying for certain things, but you really need to know what your body needs. And the only way you're going to really know that is do these analysis to find out where you're deficient or where you have excesses and make the adjustments.
And that's what I like when I seen that blood panel with Dr. Glenn. I love the way it was laid out. Like it said, it had a whole list on what he could eat by his blood being tested. And then on the other panel, it had a whole side that said what he couldn't eat. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's why this been happening to me. I'm not supposed to eat French fries. I love French fries. I love cheese. But his blood was saying no cheese, no this and that, And he said since he went by the guide, he's been feeling much better. So that blood panel is something really great. I'm glad you do that too, Dr. Wilkerson. It helped many people.
And it's just there's no one size fits all when you're talking about your body. Your body is a precious, instrument or whatever you want to call it. It's unique, and it has its own unique set of needs. And you really have to know what you're doing when you're putting different things into your body, because we dig ourselves into disease processes and into an early grave by our dietary habits. And you don't want to guess. You really don't want to guess. That's what the bottom line is. Don't guess about this. This is something that
don't guess about
will work.
Guys.
Will work for you.
Wow. Well, Riley said this is some great information.
Thank you, Riley. Also, these tests that we do with the blood panel can also indicate if you're progressing toward a more serious disease or illness.
Wow. Tell us about that, Dr. Wilkerson.
A lot of times we go on pain or how we feel. Lack of pain or symptoms is no indication of how healthy you are.
Wow.
If you get healthy enough, it really doesn't matter what the disease is.
Come on,
because
tell us about
disease cannot live in a healthy body.
Wow.
So that's really the goal in our practice, is to find out what's really at the core of this person's symptoms, and let's solve the problem. Let's not just treat the symptoms, because we can kick the can down the road treating symptoms. That's what most of the medical doctors do, is you go in, you tell them what's going on. I recently went and got a checkup and
Tell us about it.
It was questions that was asked, which I thought was very professional of my medical doctors, but they didn't really run any tests to see if something was going on with me. They just, based on what I told them, the prescription was made based on what I told them my symptoms were. And I just think that it should be a little bit more sometimes. And maybe it is, but this was one instance with me personally where I just felt like maybe there should have been a test or two ran just to see if my symptoms lined up with what was really going on with me.
And that's what I love about Dr. Charles Wilkerson. He tried to get to the core of things, helping. And he don't advise anyone not to take any medication, but he wants you to get to that point because he's also a wellness doctor as well. So he wants you to get to that point, whereas after a while, if you're eating right and you're eating good, you don't have to be on much medication as you are. And it's starting young too, Dr. Wilkerson. These people are coming in their 20s, 30s, 40s with diabetes, high blood pressure, I mean, all of that.
They're finding that even children are have problems with high blood pressure because of the diet and the lifestyles. And it's all about, instant gratification, fast foods. Your body just cannot live on those types of foods for any length of time without there being some type of health issue arising. So childhood obesity is a big problem. Yes. It really is a big problem, as well as adult obesity.
And what I like about you, Dr. Wilkerson, is that your show, like his body, he have a nice physique, you guys. He shows it, and he's in the gym. And Dr. Wilkerson, I know a lot of you guys don't know, but those who do know, he is 65 years old. He's not on any medication. And if you ask me how I know, because I've been working for Dr. Wilkerson for almost 3 years, and he's been the same from day one when I seen him. He have his vitamins with him, but he doesn't take any medication. He's 65 years old, and he's very built. He's built, you guys. No steroids either. He's going to talk to a lot of people out there. That we're losing a lot of young people that's still doing that. It's not good. It will crash one day. But I'll leave that for Dr. Wilkerson to talk about.
Yeah, and that's just another form of toxic buildup in the body. Someone was asking me about detoxification.
Yes.
What's the best way to detox the body?
Well,
there are so many different schools of thought in that area, but there are some good procedures in place that can help a person to start ridding their bodies of toxic buildup, because your body reaches a point of what we call toxic overload. When you get to the point, your body does a pretty efficient job of detoxifying itself normally. That's how we don't just clog up and get diseased.
Wow.
But what happens is when the body gets overloaded and your systems start to weaken through age, through all of the environmental toxins that hit us, then the body can't be effective at releasing the chemicals and all of the things that we're confronted with on a day-to-day basis. So that's when the disease processes start.
Wow.
And so detoxification is a process of cleansing, nourishing, and resting the body from the inside out. It works because it addresses the needs of individual cells, the smallest units of life. Disturbed cellular function is the basis of disease, poor health, and lowered physical and mental performance. Detox medicine is an ancient concept that appears as part of many healthcare systems around the world. In Europe, for example, detoxification is considered a valid medical therapy and is offered in many health spas under the supervision of the medical doctor.
Okay.
As a treatment, detox is more important today than ever before because in addition to health problems humans have been experiencing for thousands of years, we are now exposed to a huge variety of environmental toxins or poisons.
Okay.
And that is why we lose our health. It's a buildup. It's a constant buildup. Some of our systems are less tolerant than others. That's why you see people in their 30s or 20s developing chronic diseases like lupus and Crohn's and all these conditions. So it just kind of depends on the state of your immune system, how it's able to defend itself, basically.
Okay, so Dr. Wilkerson, so Riley, he said, wow, he doesn't look like it at all. You don't look like
Thanks, Riley.
Good. And also he said, when is the proper age to get that manly checkup? He been nervous about it for years, but he said as he get older, he know he needs it. I think he needs to go do it ASAP.
Well, prostate cancer, and I know that's probably what he's referring to.
You deal with people
prostate problems. It's eventually, if you live long enough, I think all of us are going to succumb to some type of serious disease. But what you want to try to do is lessen that by making sure you eat a clean diet and get those checkups. I mean, when they check your prostate, mostly what they find is BPH, which is benign prostatic hypertrophy.
Oh,
that's a swollen prostate gland. And that, if you guys are, having difficulty in the bathroom, urinating or getting up 2 or 3 times during the night to go to the bathroom, then chances are, especially in your 40s, moving into your 50s and 60s, that prostate is starting to feel the effects of maybe a toxic environment.
Wow.
So what I did for myself was I do get my checkups, but I also stopped certain things. I got off coffee.
Yes, woo woo! What doctor y'all know they don't drink coffee?
and it made a difference. When your prostate is swole, it's hard. You have to kind of force that flow, But when your body is working better, when you take some of the toxins out of your system and your body's working better, then things ease up a little bit. It did for me. It helped just getting off. Just one simple thing like getting off coffee, and I love coffee.
Yes, let them know that.
But it was hard for me to do that. But I was able to get off of it, and it didn't really bother me. Some people have withdrawal from
he's
from
still
caffeine.
Been nice, you guys.
I crave it every now and then. I can smell coffee sometimes when I'm in certain places, and I was like, whoa, it sure would be nice to have a cup of coffee, but I said no. In the interest of good health, I'm going to stay away from coffee. So I drink herbal teas.
Yes.
Even regular black tea, regular iced tea has caffeine. I think it's the caffeine in the coffee, among other chemicals. The way they process the coffee beans, it could be, a problem for that prostate. But it made a difference for me personally.
Wow.
And that would be a step if someone is having these issues. But I think to address this question, just make sure you get your annual checkups and just try to lean more toward a natural diet. I'm not saying a vegetarian style diet, but put more fruits and vegetables, something raw in your diet every day. It is so important because we get so many nutrients from the fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, and things like that our body really needs.
Wow, that's good, Dr. Wilkerson. So I hear so much about fiber in the diet these days. How much fiber do you think we really need, and where do we get it from, the fiber?
Well, fiber is mostly gotten from fiber is a simple term for indigestible components of the plant that we eat. So if you eat vegetables, the part of the plant that doesn't, it's the stringy part, it's the fibrous part of it. It doesn't break down in the digestive system, and it acts as roughage. It used to be called roughage. It helps speed up the transient of food through your digestive system. That's that fiber. A lot of times when foods are able to sit in your gut for a long time, a lot of it gets absorbed. The longer it sits there, the more it absorbs those chemicals that's used to process a lot of foods with, and those chemicals can leach into our systems and cause problems.
Is that why a lot of people have bad breath too? Because that gut, a lot of stuff is still stuck in that gut, and they just can't get rid of their bad breath either, Dr. Wilkerson?
It could be. You really got to clean them pipes out. Because
he said you got to clean them pipes out, you guys.
The gut is really a long tube, and
explain that too, Doc.
Well, the gut has different parts to it, but for the most part, you want to make sure you have good transient of the foods that you eat. And fruits and vegetables offer a lot of that roughage or that fiber that we need to help speed up the transition of food through our systems.
Okay.
Fiber really consists of carbohydrates that are too complex for our digestive systems to break down, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetarians get a lot of fiber, but those who eat mainly meats and potatoes and white bread do not.
What does it do? What's the difference?
Well, fiber increases the bulk and frequency of bowel movements, and its lack is a common cause of constipation.
Okay.
So if you're constipated all the time, then it could be that you're not getting enough roughage or fiber in your diet. You should be eating about 40 grams of fiber daily, and if you eat just a salad and some vegetables, either some steamed vegetables or whatever, that should provide you with that 40 grams of fiber source. I do bran. There's a brand called Bran Buds, and I actually eat a bowl of cereal, of course, and I use different. I don't use regular milk, but the Bran Buds, you can buy them. It's a cereal.
Okay.
And it looked like little small
Buds.
Yeah,
Brand Buds. Are they at Kroger?
Yeah, you can get them at any of your grocery stores. I generally put them in with Raisin Bran.
Okay, yes.
That was my dad's favorite. They're not really that tasty if you eat just eat them by themselves. So I'll put them in with other cereal like Raisin Bran. And my God, the next morning,
you're on the toilet.
I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the day.
No, because a lot of people need to know that, Dr. Wilkerson. You have so many people that don't speak up, young and old, and they having problems with their stools and their hard stews, and they having problems going to the restroom. I know for me, myself, I used to eat a lot of sweets, sugar, and I would use it probably once every week. And the doctor was like, that's not normal. It's too much sugar. So, of course, it's better years later, I've learned. But, still people going through that.
Well,
just what do you say about all that sugar?
Just know that if you're having a hard time in the bathroom, if you're constipated, it could mean that, you're not getting enough fiber to help with that source of elimination. So, fruits, vegetables, some commercial stuff like Metamucil could help. It's a soluble fiber that's pretty good sometimes, but I generally rely on the cereal and just trying to get enough fruit and vegetables in my diet every day, and that's more than enough.
And also he work out, you guys. He work out. Dr. Wilkerson will tell you guys that he is a gym guru, okay? And I notice when I'm on the treadmill, I go to the restroom just normal. And so Dr. Wilkerson, he also believe in working out. You got to get them buns up. You guys got to get out there and work out. He's built too. I thought he was going to go and be a bodybuilder at one point. So you guys, I'm just trying to tell you, he's a built doctor, so you can listen to him. And he has knowledge on this. Yeah, because he lives by it.
Yeah, well, exercise should be a vital part of anybody's health regimen. Walking is good. You really need to put resistive. As we get older, it's important to do more resistive type exercises, light weights. Some of the machines at the gym are good. It's just important to exercise to keep things moving, because that helps the overall function. That helps your body to function overall better when you're working out and keeping your body moving.
Okay. Wow. So, Dr. Wilkerson, so you're telling me to eat more fruits and vegetables. You're telling all us to do that, right? But what about pesticides that resides? And should I be worried, or should we be worried about that?
Yes, you should be, because
Sean Miller, sister. I'm sorry, Doc. Everybody.
Farmers are really not regulated that well in terms of what they can do to the crops. The commercial growers and animal, the people that raise, hogs, pigs, cows, chickens. They're not really regulated, so they can use, on the crops, they can use pesticides and chemicals to, keep down insects and things like that. And in the animal industry, they're not really that regulated in terms of what they can give their animals. And it's a concern. It's a concern because these chemicals do get into those food sources, the meats and the vegetables that we eat. And when we eat those, they could damage our delicate systems. There are estrogens that that mimic the estrogen that's in our bodies that in some situations is linked to breast cancer. Breast cancer is out of control right now.
The stuff that they spray on the animals.
Yeah, they are xenoestrogens. They act like the estrogens that are normally in our body and can go to those sites, those receptor sites, and block those sites. They're called endocrine disruptors. And that's when things start going haywire in the body. So it's a good idea to grow your own if you can, if you've got a green thumb.
But a lot of people don't have means to that. So
but people even living in apartments can do container gardens where they can and they could have so much stuff growing that they could just go right out on the patio and just pick a fruit or a vegetable. But if you're not able to do that, you can find market sources that promises to not have, foods with pesticides in them, organic. The term organic means a lot these days, not in the United States, doesn't it?
Yes, I did do organic cabbage yesterday. Didn't even know it. I'm like, put that organic cabbage back, but then I ended up getting it. Oh, say hi to everybody, Doc.
How much more was that organic cabbage than the regular cabbage?
I don't know, but I got the organic.
Good for you. Yeah. You got to make those kinds of choices because we're slowly taking in all these chemicals and poisons, and I think it's really the source of a lot of the sickness and the disease that we're starting to see. Yeah.
Wow. So we should be a little worried about it, huh?
Yeah, we should. You need to worry about the additives that they put in the foods. Some of the manufacturers are, are required to list their ingredients on their products, and I think that's a good thing. And you should read labels.
Yes.
You should read labels. See
I am
what's
a label reader.
Know what's harmful and what's good. There are actually beneficial additives that they put in there. Dyes are a really dangerous class of additives that interact with light and damage the DNA in our cells. Nitrites is added to many of your like bacons and all your meats, a lot of your meats, your processed meats. And the nitrites themselves don't really cause cancer, but they go through a breakdown process, protein breakdown process, that then they form into highly carcinogenic type substances called nitrosamines. And these nitrosamines can be linked to cancer.
Wow, so many big words we don't know about, you guys.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, you can ask, and Dr. Wilkerson will break it down. A big thing that's just sweeping the nation is women. I mean, we do have our men, but our women is more self-conscious with the stomachs, Dr. Wilkerson. So would you say detoxification can get rid of a lot of stubborn fat that's inside the belly that a lot of women is facing today? I mean...
Well, again, it kind of gets back to a question that was asked earlier. To me, the best thing that I've seen work for people with sustaining type, sometimes you go on diets, you lose weight, and then you get away from that diet, and boom, you're back. And sometimes you rebound back heavier than you were before the diet. The best thing is to, get in that gym, sweat, and cut back on your portions and try to lean more toward a healthier diet. That's the right way to do it because there's no magic bullet for fixing overweight problems. You just kind of gotta, and people say, well, I've been going to the gym for years and I'm not losing weight.
We do get a lot of people say that, yeah.
But then they need to take a hard look at their diet. Or find out what's really going on. You could have toxins in your body that could be blocking the thyroid from doing what it's supposed to do.
Wow, that is good. Blood panel.
Blood panel, it gets back to that blood panel.
Yeah. Wow.
People will lose weight if they're healthy.
That's good what you said, though. It could be things that's blocking, oh my gosh, I never thought of that.
Yeah. And some of the healthy additives to look for are like malic acid is not bad, fumaric acid, lactic acid, lecithin, and xanthan. If you see those, they're safe. They're not harmful. Those are just a few, but there's a lot of, when they process foods and they put these additives and these chemicals in there to try to increase shelf life and to improve the taste and for them to hold their color like they do with ground beef. They put that red stuff in ground beef sometimes to keep it from turning brown.
Oh,
they put dyeing in there sometimes. Yeah, catalyst in the oils. We would put
what
nickel,
is that?
nickel catalyst. It would be to change the molecular structure of the oil to make it go from a liquid to a solid.
Okay.
And those catalysts that we use a lot of times didn't get completely purged or washed out of the oils, and so they found their way into potato chip companies. I'm not saying that specifically, but there are contaminants in oil, and once that oil has been heated up, it really is rancid at that point.
And that's sitting in your stomach and all of that. So what would be the best oil if we want to cook with? Is olive oil? Is that the truth?
Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, it's just a couple oils, and you can do your homework on that. There are different schools of thought on what oils are safe and what oils are not. People. Olive oil is probably, and you could light stir fry. Don't heat the oils really hot, because that's when they become rancid, and you can really change the molecular structure of them, and they can become damaging to your system.
When the oil is heated up a lot.
Yeah, and
sunflower oil. What about sunflower oil? A lot of doctors too, medical, they always say do sunflower oil and.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things where you have to just keep it to a very minimum. Even if you're putting oil and vinegar on your salad, keep it to a minimum.
Okay.
Don't overdo it, because your body has to break that oil down and make it usable.
Wow.
The gallbladder has to make it usable. And so I wouldn't just stay away from certain ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys